Professor Singh teaches at the Center for International Politics, Organization and Disarmament at the School of International Studies, Jawaharlal Nehru University, New Delhi. His areas of interest include China's foreign and security policies, China-South Asia relations in general, and China-India relations in particular. If I can come to you first, Professor Singh, hitherto, the US-Taiwan relations have been governed by the Taiwan Relations Act of 1979. Now, my question to you is this. Why, after 42 years, did some Republican lawmakers in the US feel the need to move to what they call Taiwan Deterrence Act, which envisages $2 billion per year until 2032 for Taiwan, and also includes sale of weapons for Taiwan to defend itself against any Chinese misadventures?
Thank you, Ramesh. Obviously, there is need now to further strengthen and specify, as you just mentioned, $2 billion of aid, why this new bill is being proposed, which definitely wants to bring in focus the constant ratcheting up of tensions between mainland China and the Republic of China, Taiwan. But I think fundamentally, despite we keep saying there is a bipartisan consensus in United States when it comes to Taiwan, it's been almost 45 years of a constant ongoing stance. But fundamentally, remember, the problem lies in the fact that almost all countries, including United States, their policies towards Taiwan have continued to be subset of their policy with mainland China, which is Beijing. Right. So depending on their equations with Beijing is how their attention or neglect of Taiwan happens. Very clearly, we have seen till about last 4 years, constant ratcheting up of tensions between United States and China, primarily called technology and trade wars. And that has perhaps guided how, particularly the last administration, Republican administration, was rather aggressive when it comes to China and had broken several conventions in sort of strengthening Taiwan as a partner in that sense of two presidents designate talking to each other, which was unprecedented, and one after another statements that used to come from President Donald Trump. The policies of President Joe Biden are relatively subtle, but remember, they are no different than President Donald Trump's policies because the tension between China and the United States have not disappeared. And now, if you notice, what is the reason for China to constantly push this envelope is that one after another, neighbors are beginning to realize that they want to stand up. And the latest example, after AUKUS was signed between UK, US, and Australia, is now Filipino President Rodrigo Duterte has, after long suspended animation, finally signed again that agreement with the United States, and he's become equally vocal in his anti-Beijing statements now. And that was an example of China's soft power influence or diplomatic influence, where they had made President Duterte, almost toe the line for Beijing, despite Court of Arbitration in Hague saying that China had no claims on South China Sea. And now Taiwan is really saying that there is possibility of constant these tensions, where we have seen hundreds right now for this year, about 160 plus sorties in what is being identified as Taiwan's air defense zone. And they are really saying, the defense minister is saying to the parliament in Taiwan that by 2025, and my sense is that why he said 2025 could be the time China could do something dangerous, would unleash some kind of an attack. In my judgment, you see, there is a cycle of people coming to power in Taiwan. From 2000 and 2004 elections, Chen Shui-bian came to power, which was a Democratic Progressive Party. Then for another 8 years, we had the Kuomintang leader coming to power. Ma Ying-jeou came to power, and whenever KMT comes to power, relations with Beijing become softer. And now after that, we have seen now 2 elections by Ing-wen Tsai, which is again Democratic Party. Assumption is that you could see KMT coming to power in 2024, and that is why, in that changed scenario. And one very last quick point is Pratas is the island which is in contention here. with the increasing tensions in China's periphery, you see China already controls Paracels and Spratlys, which is uh, middle and south of the South China Sea. But in East China Sea, Pratas is very significant. It already is a flat land with a tarmac on it, and China
Right.
would love to control it and enhance their power projections into the region, because
Indeed.
they see tension with the United States is now building up, also tension with all other neighbors. India is included among them, and United States Department of Defense last week's report also mentioned China's building of these new small villages south of McMahon Line. So one after another, reports are saying that China is really being aggressive against all its neighbors, and because the neighbors are beginning to stand up, is why China is also ratcheting up and trying to control this very significant Pratas Island in East China Sea,
Right.
and that perhaps would strengthen their position and power projections in the region.
Indeed. Do you see the US change its policy from aiding or boosting Taiwan's defense to getting itself involved militarily in the Taiwan-China tensions going forward? In other words, do you think or feel that conflict is inevitable?
I think if you look at the history of last 70 years, United States is not likely to get into somebody else's war.
Okay.
It could go and launch a war on a vulnerable country. That's a separate thing, but China is not a vulnerable country, and United States fully understands that. Its main interest would lie to focus on power projections,
Okay.
which is what Chinese would also like to do, because Chinese also do not want to have any direct war. Even with Taiwan, they're only trying to fatigue, stress, demoralize, so that Taiwanese would ultimately, resign to the fate that they have.
Right.
14 small nations recognize them. Over time, maybe nobody will recognize them. So fundamentally, it's going to be some kind of a very fluid arrangement over a period of time, very incrementally. And the United States, first of all, will not need to come to the Taiwan to fight on its behalf. But yes, it would continuously supply weapons to Taiwan,
Okay.
partly driven by its military industrial complex that wants to sell weapons around the world.
Fair point.